I humiliated my sister's fiance at a family gathering after what he did to her. My sister is 28 and has been dating her fiance, who's 32, for the past 3 years. She's always been the quiet, low-key one in our family. Soft-spoken, gentle, the kind of person who avoids confrontation. He's the opposite. Loud, attention-seeking, and constantly pushing boundaries under the guise of humor. No one in our family ever really warmed to him, but my sister seemed happy and we kept our thoughts to ourselves. That changed a few weeks ago. He invited her to what she thought was a romantic dinner with his friends. There were candles, a photographer, and a speech. She thought he was proposing. He got down on one knee, pulled out a ring box, and inside was a note that said, "Just kidding." Then he laughed. His friends laughed, and she stood there, humiliated in front of a group of strangers. She left the dinner crying. She came to my apartment the next morning, still in tears. He'd called it a lighthearted prank and claimed he had a real proposal planned soon. He said he just wanted to test the waters. I expected her to break up with him right then, but she didn't. She said he felt bad and asked her to forgive him. I told her she didn't owe him anything, but she wasn't ready to walk away. The next weekend, she went back to his place. They acted like everything was normal, but it was obvious she hadn't moved past it. She didn't talk about wedding plans anymore. She got quiet anytime someone brought up their relationship. She stopped wearing the promise ring he gave her 2 years ago. This past weekend, we had a big family dinner at our parents' house. It was supposed to be a celebration for our cousin graduating med school. About 20 people were there. Family friends, a few of our cousin's friends. My sister brought him along and he acted like nothing had happened. He was loud, cracking jokes, laughing too hard at his own stories. It was like he wanted to be the center of attention. During dinner, one of our uncles asked the two of them when they were planning to tie the knot. My sister opened her mouth to answer, but before she could speak, he cut her off with a smirk and said, "Guess she'll just have to wait and see, huh?" He gave her a wink like it was some kind of inside joke. That was it for me. I turned to him and, in front of everyone, said, "Oh, is this like how she had to wait for that hilarious fake proposal you did in front of your friends? That was a riot, right? Maybe you can do it again here." Let's all laugh. The room went silent. My sister's face went pale. The other conversations at the table stopped. He tried to laugh it off, said something about how it was a joke, but no one was laughing. My dad set down his fork and told him flatly, "That wasn't a joke. That was cruelty." He sat through another 10 minutes of dinner, barely speaking, then got up and left. My sister followed him out a few minutes later. They didn't say goodbye to anyone. The next morning, she texted me that I had crossed a line. She said she was already trying to move past what he did and that I'd made things worse. She told me I had no right to embarrass him like that and said I'd ruined what was left of their relationship. I didn't respond. That night, she came to my apartment again, but not to talk. She picked up a few things she'd left during her last visit and said she didn't want me involved in her relationship anymore. I told her I wasn't trying to ruin anything. I was standing up for her because she clearly wasn't going to. She walked out without replying. Since then, she hasn't been answering my calls or texts. But something happened the day after the dinner that I didn't expect. He came back to my parents' house to clear the air. My dad met him at the door and didn't let him in. They talked outside for a few minutes, and then he left again. Later, we found out he'd asked my dad for advice on how to handle my sister being so emotional. My dad told him he wasn't welcome back until he apologized sincerely and publicly to her. He hasn't reached out to her since.